Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. What's going down, brother?
Yeah, I'm very well. Had a very eventful week. Very eventful week. Obviously, it's Friday morning. I had that conversation with my family, it went very well. Very grateful for the result. I wouldn't say confrontational, but I think years ago, the idea of me getting my family together and saying, hey, there's a lot of dishonesty here. Let's just be real with one another. And this is what the dishonesty is. Bum, 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 bum. And being able to also communicate it in a way whereby it lowered their guard and pulled them in. And I was doing the stuff I've learned. Well, you've taught me a lot of it over the years, and I've just learned and turned around and we teach the guys in the brotherhood. And so anyway, that was a great result there. And then Amelia and I had a very tough, in some respects, honest, heartfelt conversation, as you're aware of, last night, which rolled into today and this morning. And I'm very pleased with the outcome there as well. So, very thinking back, in fact, quite a pivotal week in many respects.
Good. Yeah, you have had a pivotal week for sure. I apologize for myself joking, as I can hear bang. Sounds like construction in my house, and it's my 1-year-old banging something above me. So I apologize. Yeah, it has been an interesting week. All wrapped into coming into a culmination. I think that happens for a lot of guys listening to this. When you hit the valley, the way I look at it, Tim, is when you hit a roadblock or an obstacle. What that tells me, there's two things you can do, right? You can either shut down and go, I'm not going forward. This sucks, what have you. Or you can recognize it for what it is. And it's just an obstacle to be overcome. And when you overcome it, you're going to have to go outside your comfort zone to do so. And what lies outside your comfort zone for all of us is growth. You see this in sports, you see this in business. If you want to become a public speaker, well, you got to step on stage, and it's not comfortable the first few times you do it. And if you and I have done it for a long time, when I step on stage, it's still not comfortable, but it's more comfortable because I've grown with that. So I've come to, because what I'm trying to say, not eloquently, is I've come to embrace those times of uncomfortability, knowing that there's growth on the other side. And it's not to say I'm perfect with it, but when I do see it, I am able to catch myself and say, okay, cool. Something awesome's coming out of this. Doug is going to be a better man at the end of this, whatever this is.
Yeah. I admire that, because I definitely don't approach it in that way. I wish, do I wish I could or did? Kind of. Do you know what really makes me approach it more? Is this. I think it's two things. One, the men I have around me, like you and Arthur, and because honestly, one of the first things I do is turn to you guys after I've kind of figured out how I'm feeling and what's going on. I kind of, like yesterday, I relay my thoughts. Hey, this is going on. This is what I'm thinking. What do you think of this? So that always helps. But then the other thing as well is just the listeners, the guys that we work with. I feel such a sense of duty to walk the path, because I feel it's just my right to do that, to earn the privilege to turn around and then, teach and speak to the men about these things. And I think I'm very grateful to them, because without them, without having that layer of accountability there, they probably don't even know that they hold me accountable, because they don't say anything to me. It's just me. It's how I see it. And it's really got me through some challenging times, knowing that I'm accountable to those guys, to you guys, the listeners, combined with having great guys in my corner. It's really helped me to muddle through at times.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Tim, I'm going to flip the script here and get into our topic for today. And the topic is just what the title says: the nice guy and the slot machine, right? So, Tim, do you gamble much? I don't know this about you, actually. Have you gambled much in the past, gone and done slot machines or Las Vegas or something equivalent?
No, I placed a bet with Amelia on Saturday, in fact, for £100, just that one of her friends wouldn't do something. But apart from that, no.
Okay. Yeah, I'm more setting the stage for more of like the Las Vegas slot machine scene. I've done a lot of conferences and events in Las Vegas. So I'm very used to it. You walk into any casino, which is used to be more of the hotels are, and they still are, but there's other hotels now. But you walk in there and you hear the ching 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 of the cash being made and the sounds, and it draws people in. Well, the psychology behind slot machines is what they're going to do is you pull that lever, you put your money in, whatever it may be, you pull the lever, and then you may not get anything. So you pull it again, you pull it again. The 10th time, it pays out. You're like, oh, this is amazing. And then you might put more money in and you pull it 12 times, nothing. 13th time, you get money. Amazing. So what they're doing is releasing a dopamine hit each and every time, right? Even when you pull it and you don't get something, you still have the hope and expectation that you're just a little closer, a couple more times. And they can even stretch it out where you can be there 20, 30 times, but psychologically in your brain, your subconscious says, hey, I'm going to get a dopamine hit if I stick to this. I'm going to get a little drug, right, in my body. And what happens is, you keep coming back and you keep expecting. And this is how addictions get formed with gambling. But even us normal folks would say, who don't have an addiction to it, you still like the rush of the possibility. Now, it's happened to a lot of men, right? A lot of men listening. Obviously at the Powerful Man currently, we only deal with business owners, right? Married business owners. What's happened to a lot of these guys is sex has become their slot machine. And what they've done is they've become a nice guy, right? And their wife has determined that she can resist or put off having sex for a lot of times to get what she wants. Now, hear me out, because not every woman does this, but most women do it, and they do it subconsciously. They're not doing this on purpose. They're not doing this to string you along. And so what's happening here is the guy does something like maybe he says, hey, look, my wife's tired. Okay, no problem. I'm going to do the dishes tonight. I'm going to cook dinner. All right. No sex. Okay. Next day comes in. Well, she's complaining that I'm always on my phone. I'm Voxering people or I'm sending messages. I'll stop doing that. No sex. Okay. The next day comes around. He's like, okay. She also says I'm not spending enough quality time with her. So I'm going to do that too, and do the dishes and make dinner and not send Voxers out. No sex. Right? He's still hopeful and he decides, okay, she's got a headache. She's had a hard day. I'm going to do the dishes, cook dinner, not talk on phone, in work early, spend quality time with her. And he gets laid. Boom, dopamine hit. Now this pattern starts to progress. And what tends to happen, kind of like the slot machine, is he keeps pulling the lever, and the lever being doing nice things, right? Being a nice guy, doing things for her. And I'll talk to you about the good, bad game in a little bit. But doing things for her and expecting and hoping to get sex, right? Get intimacy, get acknowledgement. And for some guys, it's just friggin' get respect, right? It's like sex is the next level. Just give me some friggin' respect. And this guys will keep going to this. Now, the 4-day analogy I just gave you of no sex and doing things turns into weeks, which for some guys turns to months and years. And they're waiting for that dopamine hit. They're going to keep doing it. And they fall into nice guy syndrome. It's like we like to call it, and a lot of people call it that, where they're constantly doing the nice thing in the hope to get that dopamine hit, which in this case is sex, thinking that they're going to do it. And their wife, for whatever reason, or their partner, again, mostly subconsciously, because I don't think women do this at a conscious level, they're getting their needs met. They're getting the chores done in the house. They're getting, their needs met. They're getting the attention, the affection that they want. And they effectively turn their husband, and they don't like this, by the way, but they turn their husband into almost that friend, that guy that, we're just friends. Like we can cuddle, we can do things. You bring me chocolates, you do these things, and then I'm going to go date and have sex with the bad guy. Like we all know that story from high school, right? You don't want to get in the friend zone, but husbands have put themselves in the friend zone in the slot machine type analogy.
Mm-hmm. For sure, Ryan. Oh, go for it.
No, please.
It reminds me of one of the guys in the inner circle last week. What did he say? Basically, he's that was it. His wife said to him, "Oh, well, you've been a good boy, so, I'm going to give you sex." And kudos to this guy, because he said, "Hang on a minute. No, you're not going to give me sex because I've done something. That's not how this game works." And he's come a long way. He's come a very long way. And no coincidence, I guess, since that point, the week after that, the way that sex was initiated and how it went down was very different, because by default, he obviously established a boundary and respect and other things by doing what he did. But I loved it. It was great. I'm really proud of him for doing that, because again, a year ago, I was looking at Googling how can I kind of, end the marriage without giving so much of my assets away and everything else, right, that goes along with that. So he's come such a long way.
Yeah. And the way that this was brought to me, this isn't my own original thought. I'm trying to figure out the person's name. Athol K, I believe, is where I got this part of it from. And thinking about this is, imagine that you have playing cards, right? There's two cards in front of you. One says good, one says bad. Now your partner's got the same playing cards, good or bad, right? In every moment or every day, let's just use every day as an analogy, you get to choose which card you get to play. So Tim, I'm going to use you and Amelia as an example here, just for the other guys, if that's okay. You say, I'm going to play the good card. Now Amelia says, I'm going to play the good card. And you guys, have a wonderful evening. You cook a meal together. You're laughing, you're joking. You both do the dishes. You clean up. You're helping out around the house. You're working together as a partnership. And you guys have great sex, right? Awesome. Well, the next day comes along and you play the good card again, because that's the way it should be, right? And this is the way most dating starts, right? Everybody's playing the good card. And you play the good card again, but Amelia's like, you know what? I don't want to do dishes today. I don't want to do cooking. She plays the bad card. And now you find yourself in the kitchen doing the dishes. Amelia's on the couch watching the TV or doing whatever, and doing what she likes to do, walking the dogs or what have you. And you're doing the dishes. And it's not a big deal. It's one time. And you go through it again. And the next day you say, hey, look, this is not working. You play the bad card. Amelia plays the good card. You're on the couch. She's doing the dishes, back and forth. And then it comes down what happens to a lot of guys, right? Well, let me go the other option. I'll tell you what happens to a lot of guys, and I know you know the answer. You play the bad card. Amelia plays the bad card. You guys do takeout. You're not really talking. It's kind of distance. You're both watching TV and you're doing Netflix, et cetera, et cetera. No one's getting it, right? What happens, pardon me, for a lot of guys is they consistently start playing the good. They play the good card. The wife plays the bad card. She looks around. Maybe she's really legitimately sick. You're cooking dinner. This is pretty nice. You're doing the dishes. It's not bad. You're helping out with the kids. And the next day you come by and you play the good card again. You're a good guy. She plays the bad card. And you're cooking, you're doing the dishes, you're giving her space, you're giving her some alone time, et cetera, et cetera. She's on the, Instagram or with her friends. This pattern starts to repeat. 5 days becomes 6, 6 days becomes a week becomes 2, et cetera, et cetera. And subconscious, like we were talking about, with the dopamine hit in the slot machine, your wife's consistently played the bad card until the guy reaches a boiling point. This is what happens for a lot of our guys, right? They snap. I'm not going to put up with this. This isn't going to happen. I need to get laid, or I need this, or I need that. So then the wife goes, what'd she do? She plays the good card. She plays a good card twice. Dopamine hit. Maybe 3 times dopamine hit. And then you're chill. You're happy. You're content. Everything's good in your world. Then she plays the bad card. You let it slide. Then she plays the bad card again. Not a big deal. And this cycle starts to repeat. And what happens is the time gap between when, for a lot of these guys, they're having sex or their wife, quote unquote, plays the good card, grows. Now, it may grow by a day between sessions. It may grow by a week until the men find themselves months, for some guys years, and their wife's been playing the bad card the entire time. And now they're stuck into a pattern of being where their identity is around being the nice guy, pulling the slot machine, just hoping to get laid, hoping to have a partnership, pulling the slot machine, hoping to be that power couple that they've solved before, pulling the slot machine, hoping to get the respect and admiration from their wife. Like, look at all the things that I'm doing. And these things come fewer and farther between. So this good, bad game combined with the dopamine hit and the slot machine and the guy being a nice guy creates a pattern, almost like an eddy if you ever go whitewater rafting or what have you, where the water is just swirling around and around in this pattern. And then someone gets shot out until they get into the next eddy. And it repeats itself time and time again. And then the guys feel trapped, right? And it's no fault of their own, right? It's not the guys that did this. They've been taught through patterning and just, getting the dopamine hit, the hormones in the body, that this is the way to be, right? This is the way to do it. And don't put your foot down because, it's legitimate. Your wife had a headache, or it's legitimate. This was going on. She wanted to see her girlfriends and she's lonely and it's COVID, or she wants to walk the dogs or what have you. They're legitimate excuses. But when their needs aren't getting met and they haven't actually put their foot down to actually have that conversation, things are very, very different.
So it's obviously interesting because I had a conversation, as you know, with Amelia last night and this morning, where I definitely put my foot down, but I definitely was not in the pattern you've described. What came out of it that I found interesting was, and she said this, to be fair, she's like, look, we've got to find a way, because she felt like her needs weren't being met either. I thought that, I was meeting them, quite frankly. Still think I did, but anyway. So she says, look, let's find a way to communicate this before it gets to boiling point for either of us. Because you've blown up and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, we came up with a plan. I don't know if it's a solution yet because we've not done it. Because my immediate thought when you said that is, okay, so how would you recommend the guys communicate and put the foot down in a firm way early enough on without letting it, without being reactive, right? And without letting it slide, and without letting it go on too long. And naturally, in the conversation, I'm going to think of myself, right? And the solution or the plan that Amelia and I have come up with is there's certain things that we're going to do or we're going to be doing, kind of like an agreement, certain things in a relationship. Not about doing dishes or anything, but just that are important to each of us, for her to have her needs met, me to have my needs met. And the mistake we made previously was that the agreement wasn't the right type of agreement. Whereas now we've agreed on certain things happening on certain, not sex by the way, but certain things happening on certain days that create the environment for the things to happen. Let me be a bit more clear. At certain times of day, once a week, let's say. Point being is, because we're now both clear on that, if one of us isn't there, now in the past, I've reminded Amelia, or I've waited while Amelia's been late, that ain't going to be happening in the future. If she's not there on time, I'm out there, not going to wait around. And I'm also not going to remind her. It's up to her for this to be a priority to her to be there. Point I'm making with this is, and I'm kind of answering my own question here, with me, I think what I get to do in particular for myself is speak it out. So if that thing doesn't happen at that time, as we both agreed, then it's the case of, hey, this didn't happen. Why not? What went on? And then obviously I have a choice as to how long I want to continue tolerating that if it continues to happen, right? But I'm curious, again, back to my question, for the guys listening, how would you recommend that they put their foot down in a way that's not reactive, so not in response to something going amiss once, but also without letting them drag it on for days or weeks, and in a way that is calm, right? So it's the message is heard, and they maintain their boundary as well.
That's a great question, man. I think, first of all, guys, if you found yourself in this situation for longer than, let's just say, a month, you're definitely in what we call deactivated, right? You're just deactivated. And that's not it's not a good thing, but I'm not calling you a name, right? Or pushing to just recognize the state that you're in and you need to get activated, right? Obviously, I think the activation method is the best way of doing that. However, you need to be able to stand in your power. And as you said, Tim, you're just not reactive when you're activated. So what happened, I had a business associate and a friend over last night, and we're sitting on the couch just talking. The kids are asleep. This particular guy bought a very, very nice bottle of scotch. And so we're trying it. It's something I haven't tried before. It was very unique. And so we're enjoying it. And the conversation goes, my wife and he are talking about their love of chocolate. And I bought some really nice chocolates a while ago. Now, I'm not a chocolate guy, so it's no temptation for me. Tim, I know you love it. But my wife goes, oh, she's like, yeah. She's like, do you want some chocolate? He's like, well, I would never turn down the kind that I have. And she looks at me and says, oh, they're in the cupboard. Honey, the chocolates are still in the cupboard. And I look at her and I just started laughing. I go, yes, they are. It's what I said. I laughed. And she immediately said, I'll go get them. Right. But what she was trying to do, they call it a fitness test or a shit test. She was basically saying, I want a chocolate. He wants a chocolate. Doug, why don't you get up off of your seat and go get us chocolates? That was the subtext. The reaction that I had, which was, I didn't think about it until you're just talking about this, but the reaction was basically, that's funny, right? And that's all I did was give her a look like, you're funny, like about me getting them. And she really immediately recognized we have a dynamic as such that she should get up and go get the chocolates that she wants. And she did. And it was as simple as that. And I bring this up because it's your actions that are more important than your words, right? Putting your foot down and say, look, I will not take this anymore. This is not fair. It's BS, right? She knows it is. It's your actions that do it. So I'll use.
Hey, just before you move on.
Yeah.
Would there be a time at all when you should have made that request and you might have just, got them?
Sure. So if she said, babe, would you mind just getting the chocolates for me? And if there was something like she's working out again, so we had a baby and she's getting back into it, so she's super sore, things like that, I'd be like, yeah, no problem, no big deal. But we're enjoying a conversation. I got a glass of scotch in my hand. She's not sore. She's got her feet propped up. We have a really nice ottoman and couch. She's comfy, right? And I'm comfortable too. So that just wasn't acceptable for me. If she would have started whining, which is a lot of women do, and I used to get caught up in this a lot, Tim, it's like, oh, come on, honey, please, that kind of thing. Like a little girl. That's, guys, when you double down and say no. That's manipulation. Now, women have been taught this skill of manipulation since they were little kids. You gotta remember, for most women, since they've been
imagining a woman listening to this.
It's true.
Women have been taught this skill of manipulation for years.
It is subconsciously. Yeah. To get what they want.
True.
Guys have been trying to, since a woman turns like 13, she's had some guy trying to get into her pants. Right. I know it's it's just somebody is, and a 13-year-old boy, 14-year-old boy, whatever. So women have had to develop, reactive mechanisms. And one of the things that women have subconsciously learned is that when they're sweet or do this, then they can get boys to do things for them. Well, those little girls grow up to be grown women, right? I'm not saying all women do this, right? Conscious women don't, but it's a skill. Just like guys know, if we puff our chest out and we act real tough, sometimes we can get what we want from another guy, right? We can be domineering. You subconsciously know it just happens. Anyway, so what can the guys do? Well, one is you got to get activated, guys. And what I mean by that is you got to learn who you are, what you deserve, and how to stand in your power in an effective way to get what you want. That's not being a dick, right? You're being an actual real man, right? In that case, I just chuckled, laughed, right? Took a sip of my scotch. And that was it. That was the end of the dialogue, right? And that's an energetic shift. It's a subtext. Nothing was said, but it's an energetic shift, and everything was said in that silence, right? In that chuckle going through there. And there could be another case. You might find yourself, to answer your question, Tim, what can the guys do? So maybe it's your wife's on Instagram. She's on her phone on the couch. You come home from work and the kids are hungry, and she's expecting you to cook dinner again. I don't know. Maybe you do it all the time, or she's just expecting it. She's not working, what have you. You just simply just don't do it. Right? Take care of the kids, maybe get yourself something, but don't make her food. If she says why, just go, look, you're a grown woman. This isn't working for me. And then you can have a conversation about it. But you have to have a conversation about it from engaged indifference. And engaged indifference simply means you're engaged in the conversation, but you're indifferent on the outcome. Right? Should she stay? Should she go? Whatever. I'm a great guy. I'm a great catch. But don't go in from that ego jerk. I'm a great catch. I'm successful. I'm good looking. I'm smart. When you come from that standpoint, you can do it. You can know it. But when you come from that standpoint, she's going to feel it. Right? And then it puts her in scarcity. Now you're playing a game. But if you come from the place of like, look, you're home all day. You can make dinner. I'm out working. Or maybe your wife works too. So you guys can figure that out. But if you have an agreement, then she doesn't eat. She's got to make her own food. And you can come back. You just basically are putting your foot down. Like this, I'm stopping this. Right. And then the same thing, if you're not having sex in your marriage and your wife's still on her phone and doing these things, just stop. Put your foot down. Actions speak louder, right, than your words. Right? Hey, going out with the guys. See ya. Where are you going? Out. And then walk out. Right? I got myself in this situation, as we've talked about in the podcast early on, when I was trying to figure out my marriage, and the powerful man didn't exist at the time, unfortunately for me. And so we had to figure all these things out. But you got to get reactivated. Then you got to take kind of the paradigm back. And it doesn't mean you're the powerful, almighty king of your castle and your wife has to do all your bidding. I'm not saying that at all. We talked about the good card and the bad card. It's best when I play my good card, my wife plays her good card. We are operating at our best as a couple. Sometimes I do play the bad card, right? Sometimes I am a lazy SOB, and sometimes she is, but they're very few and far between, right? And that's acceptable. It's okay for her to be low on energy because she's on her menstrual cycle or whatever. Cool. I got you. I got this. Right. And she's doing the same thing. When we do alpha resets, Tim, she wants me to spend an extra day away so I can recharge my batteries, because it takes a lot out of us coaches. Right. But we've developed that dynamic over time. And it's by becoming activated again, going from deactivated to activated, and then letting your actions speak louder than your words. It's one thing to say, I don't accept this. It's another thing to let your actions showcase that you don't accept it. Big difference. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Oh, complete sense. Yeah. It's interesting. I spoke with Arthur this morning. He said many things. Obviously, I shared it with you yesterday as well. And one of the things he said, it sounds to me, Tim, like you might care more than her. I was like, interesting. He said, what if you care less? And I was like, And it doesn't mean necessarily about sex per se, but just to give the listeners a bit of context here. I feel like I know that I make an effort and have been making an effort to meet Amelia's needs, because her needs are important to me, right? She's important to me. Not from a place of self-sacrifice, but just from, hey, there's 2 or 3 things that I know that if I do them in the day, then that really is important to her, right? So that means I plan my morning routine and I plan it around one of those things to a degree. I fit it in and do other things. Anyway, point I'm making is I haven't felt that be reciprocated. And that's my version of it, right? Obviously, Amelia has a version. We spoke about it this morning. Long story short, though, he said, well, what if you care less? And I was like, I sat with that for a little bit, like I am now. And anyway, to the point, after we had the conversation this morning, in the past, I think I would have gone to her because, I don't want to see her crying and upset and in pain, because I laid a very clear boundary in a very calm way. And I slept in a separate bed last night, didn't go see her, just left, no, I'm not this is unacceptable for me. And after we had the conversation this morning, and I could clearly see that, she was upset again. Obviously, I don't want to see her upset. So my natural inclination is to want to go and hug her or whatever. And I just thought, no, I'm just gonna leave you in it. And I just walked out of the room in the end, journaled a bit right there and then while she got up and started doing the dishes and things. Journaled what I just, thought about and what we'd agreed upon. And then walked out of the room and went to go work out and had a sauna and things like that. And then got ready for my day. And then she came in and she's like, oh, we're not gonna make up. And I'm like, yeah, cool. You can come here if you want. I'm not gonna, And we made up a little bit. And she's like, you're so mean. You were so mean earlier. I'm just like, it just
test.
Cool. Like, cool. You can think that. It's just where I stand. So, it seems to have. I didn't say this, but I knew from her saying you're so mean. Perfect. It's the message was delivered. So yeah. Anyway, a point I'm making is you obviously stopped on the end of your last point. Yes, I get it, and caring less. And it's a fine line for me, at least, because I think in the past, in previous relationships, and even at the beginning of this one to a degree, I think I could easily fall into the nice guy trap because I can be so easygoing at times and I can let things slide. And that strength serves me so well in many areas and works against me in my relationship. So I've had to consciously work on really strengthening that muscle of boundary. And like you say, letting your actions speak louder than words. And as a result, yeah, it does feel great when you talk about deactivated versus activated. Totally resonates. And it resonates not on a word or language level. It will resonate. That's how it feels, right? When somebody moves from, nice guy to powerful man. Let's just say that, right? Dear wolf. It literally is that feeling of almost being like a bit of a ghost in your own life. Not being able to take control of it, but yet you're taking control in business and in your health. But this one area seems to be evading you to then, being activated. And suddenly you're like, okay. And you start to get a lot more output for a lot less effort.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it is. And I want to, thank you for your sharing, your conversation with me yesterday. I shared it with my wife and we had great sex afterwards. So you have to sleep in separate beds. I apologize, but it worked out well. So guys, if you find yourself in this situation, right, and you're looking at this and you go, crap, I'm the nice guy playing the slot machine, hoping to get a payout, right? And the payouts are going, if I look back over the last year, payouts are fewer and farther between, right? And what a lot of guys are finding out is that COVID is here. And a lot of guys had this idea, well, I'm going to be working from home. We're going to be home together. We're going to be getting it on a lot more. And the opposite happened, less sex, right? So guys, if you find yourself in this, there's a couple things. One, you need to get activated. Just admit, hey, I've been deactivated. No worries. Work on getting activated, standing in your power, and realize what card you're playing and what card your wife is playing. Is she playing the good card or the bad card? And which one are you playing typically in the relationship? And last, what I'm going to say you do is take a stand for yourself. Actions speak louder than words. Actions speak louder than words. The way that you act and take a stand for yourself, guys, and this goes with every area of your life, right? Every territory, self, health, wealth, relationships, and business, every territory, your actions and what you do is going to say a lot more to the world and to your wife than what you say, the words coming out of your mouth. All right? Take a stand for yourself, fellas. Gentlemen, that's a wrap for us on The Powerful Man Show. As always, go over to thepowerfulman.com/bonus where you can get a free training. That's thepowerfulman.com/bonus. And if you're inclined, join us in the Facebook group as we continue the conversation. There's some great conversations going on over there, and I want you guys to be involved as well. As always, make a great week. Always take action, and we'll see you next time on The Powerful Man Show.